Here's a story just in time for Ishtar, Truth Seeker. Video shows doctor with measles treating kids. RFK Jr. later praised him as an extraordinary healer. Tomorrow, big Jesus Day. Jesus was an extraordinary healer. RFK Jr., like at least half the people in the federal city, Jesuit educated, again, the Society of Jesus. Try out the gematria of Jesus Christ and measles. You'll see they both equate to 74 and 43. And of course, science in 2012 said Jesus' crucifixion date was April 3rd, 4-3. And don't forget, the big way, Jesus alone is 74. And the same cipher as measles, just with the alphabetic order. But yeah, Jesus Christ, double overlap with measles. Jesus, perfect match with measles. And don't forget, Jesuit-run HBO, they recently had that hospital episode come out on April 3rd, The Pit. And that episode was about measles on 4-3, on Jesus' anniversary of being crucified, so science says. But here's the other big kicker here. We've been talking a lot about the ongoing 72 rituals with RFK Jr. And now the doctor who's being criticized in this article for treating children while contagious with measles, but he would be treating children who already have measles, and that's what's dumb about this article. For younger people who don't know, back in my parents' generation, my parents were born in the early 50s, if a child caught measles in the neighborhood, they'd have all the children go over and be around that so that all the children could catch measles and just get over it. Because once you get measles, that's pretty much it. You generally don't get it again in life. And that's the other thing that's weird. It's pretty uncommon for adults to have measles. But we've been talking a lot about RFK Jr. in 72. Again, when he was going through his confirmation process, several of the congressional representatives asked him if he was on board with the 72 jab schedule, which is the current schedule. By the time you're 18, you get 72 shots as recommended by the CDC, by the authorities. And we pointed out why this matters so much. Again, 72 is the special number. In Kabbalah, there's 72 names of God. In the Goetia, there's 72 demons. But if you go back and look, RFK Jr. put out a video last summer on July 2nd, 7-2, called RFK Jr. the Snake. And his confirmation hearing to become health secretary began on January 29th, the first day of the year of the snake. And in Gematria, year of the snake equals 72, just like RFK Jr. equals 72. Just like how Dr. Ben Edwards equals 72 and Jesuit Order equals 72 and President Trump equals 72, as does President Biden. Both presidents Jesuit educated. It's escaping me right now, but I covered it at the time a few months back, or was it 2-3 months back, when this outbreak started in Texas. The name of the town that the outbreak started in equals 72. We covered that right away because it was like at the same time that he was getting confirmed. And again, you just have to say, like, how could this all be a coincidence and not evidence of scripted propaganda, again, further to polarize the nation? I mean, that's really all it is. It's just that, just polarizing propaganda. And it also just speaks to how weak the nation's become. Just how weak people are. Again, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, they had measles parties. People weren't freaking out about measles. They weren't scared of measles. It was just part of life. It was very rare to die from measles. You know, back then, autism was something that pretty much nobody had ever heard of, didn't really exist. You know, remember in 2012, Jenny McCarthy, thousands of other parents were sharing their stories online, platforms like YouTube, about how they got that shot, you know, and then their child changed drastically, almost overnight. You know, tens of thousands of parents, maybe millions of parents across this world have that same story. The same media that gives you these stories like this encoded propaganda, it's the same media that says all those people are kooks, conspiracy theorists, weirdos, wrong. It's weird. They all have the same story. It's weird. Again, 50, 60, 70 years ago, people not scared of measles parties. Now, everyone's scared of everything, including having their own opinion, differing from the authorities that are constantly bullshitting you. Yeah, Dr. Ben Edwards. Let's run this one in the calculator here real quick. Dr. Ben Edwards. Let me just zero this out. All right, you can see it. It's funny. Let's just go. There's 4 base ciphers if you're new here. You can see Dr. Ben Edwards is 117. Who's got a 117 birthday? Oh, that's right. RFK Jr., born January 17th, 54. So that's with the alphabetic order. Dr. Ben Edwards, when you just run the alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26, his name 117. When you run his name with the alphabetic order in numerology, 54. Who's born in the year 54? Oh, that's right, RFK Jr., born January 17th, 1954. For the record, Jesuit order equals 54 in that same cipher. And remember, the Jesuit order's logo is the sun. SUN equals 54. The sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. These are all time rituals. RFK Jr. went to Georgetown Prep, which was established by 54-year-old John Carroll, plus John Carroll equals 54. The Jesuit headquarters is the Church of the Jesus, Building 54. Dr. Ben Edwards, 207. Interesting. 207 is the number associated with the Jesuit priest, Father Amiot, who wrote Art of War. Well, he's credited with translating it and getting it republished and making it famous. Supposedly it's a Sun Tzu, even though there's no proof he ever existed, kind of like Jesus. But yeah, 20th of July is also a big day for Jesuit ritual, and that day can be written 20/7. And then last, Dr. Ben Edwards, 72 in the same cipher, Jesuit order, 72. 5472, same ciphers, Jesuit order. RFK Jr. Here, just to go down memory lane to put in the other ones. Jesuit order. Up at the top, 144 like Kennedy Curse, 54, 153 like the miraculous catch, 144 like the chosen biblical numbers, and 72. So if you just hit the enter, it punches it in. So you can see Dr. Ben Edwards, Jesuit order, the exact same. Dr. Ben Edwards, Jesuit order, the exact same. And let's punch in RFK Jr. RFK. Don't forget, JFK and RFK were both killed in places that equal 54. And both died in 144 rituals. RFK at 1:44 a.m. JFK, 144 days for meeting the Pope on 7/2. But yeah, RFK Jr., 72, you can see it right there. RFK Jr., 72. And year of the snake. I wish I could remember off the top the name of the town where the outbreak started, but I assure you it was 72. I covered it then. Year of the snake, 153 like Jesuit order, 63 like RFK Jr. Year of the snake, 72. And just so you can see also the measles thing. Measles has the 74 and 43. Measles 74. 74, 43. Jesus Christ. Again, this miracle healer headline, or extraordinary healer right before Easter. Jesus Christ, 43. Again, the Jesuit Run HBO episode on April 3rd about measles on the Pit. The Pit equals 35 like Thursday, like Catholic, like Holy See, like Jesuitism. But there's Jesus Christ, 74 also. And again, just in the most simple cipher, Jesus is 74. And for years, you've seen the stories about, Jewish communities and measles outbreaks because they don't vaccinate. Jesus from Judea. Just for the record, Jesus, Jewish, measles, they're all 74. So, again, just, news by the numbers. Here, don't forget this one either. MMR vaccine. It's 101 and 47, right? And 61. It's a lot like Christian. It's actually interesting how they're doing this right at Easter time. But the 47, remember, RFK Jr. on April 7th advised people to get the MMR vaccine. He said it's the best way to protect yourself from the measles. And then yet when you read these stories, because again, they have to keep it polarizing, right? They want to continue to refer to him as an anti-vaxxer, anti-jabber. And then it's like, well, I mean, he came out, made a public statement and said that people should get it if they want to protect. So, yeah. What do you want? What do you want? But yeah, that was by the numbers too. That was on 4/7. And just for the record about what I was saying with how they're doing this for Easter, syncing up with Jesus, the extraordinary healer. Check out Christian and the shot. Isn't that interesting? The Society of Jesus, large and in charge when it comes to so many things, public policy, hospitals, education. Triple overlap. That is weird. That is weird. But I'm not saying those things are really related, but that's part of the reason they're doing this. This is how these people do it. If things have the same matching numbers, they'll create the ritual. They'll try and tie these things to one another. Video shows doctor with measles treating kids. RFK Jr. later praised him as an extraordinary healer. That's Jeff Young's favorite word, extraordinary. He hates that word. He says, look at it, extraordinary. What's special about that to be extraordinary? I'm starting to see where they're going. This extra, it has the same value as in Marum Dei Gloriam, the Jesuit motto. That's interesting. 73 number of books in the Catholic Bible. It's that 172. But yeah, just one more fat 72 ritual for RFK Jr. And look at this thing, too, about how they have to bring up Seminole, Texas. And this is just days after what just happened at the Florida State campus, the Seminoles. If you missed my video on that, again, that tragedy at FSU, there's a lot to it. But you see how Florida State, let me come down here. Florida State, hold on. It's got the 49 light gun control, but you see the 194 in the reverse? And the, if I can get down there, geez, it gets hard to pull it when it's so far down when the list is that long. Come on, man. 77 and 194. Again, if you look into the most famous Seminole in U.S. history, it's Osceola, who refused to go along with the Indian Removal Act, which was 194 years ago. That shooting came 77 days after his death anniversary, and he died in federal custody. And of course, the reason that his people were conquered was because they didn't have guns, and the Europeans did. So think about a ritual to undermine the Second Amendment, to persuade more people to give up their rights and liberties to this oppressive, tyrannical Jesuit order that runs this nation from Europe. Just think about the great irony and mockery and the phrase, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And then also think about why this same gang gave everybody the Jesus mythology, so they'd sit parked on their ass, waiting for a miracle to come down from the sky and free us all from this hell. Just think about it. Mass mind control, mass cult for the culture of a belief system that keeps everybody with their hands under their butt cheeks, trusting so much in authorities, picking their favorite authorities. Oh, I don't like those Presbyterians. I'm gonna go over here to the Lutheran Church. I don't like those Republicans, but I sure like those Democrats. I used to like RFK Jr., but now he's a Republican. So they got everybody doing, picking their favorite group of authorities. Everyone praising their false heroes, their false saviors, instead of becoming part of a solution, using their own God-given power to make a difference. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And until next time.